And welcome everybody to the next generation of sports talk radio, The Score on Air, thescore.com. It's Fun Size 2.0 here, and as you can see, I am not alone today. I have Mr. Alvin Brown joining me today, and he is actually new to he's not new to the wrestling scene, he's just new to being on my spot. So, he's new, kind of, ish. So, Mr. Alvin Brown, why don't you introduce yourself to the lovely, lovely people of ScoreOnAir.com?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for having me. Thanks for asking me to come out. A big wrestling fan. We kind of found out on accident in class. So as you mentioned, I am a teacher here at Ohio Media School. Big shout out to the Columbus campus and all Cleveland and Cincinnati. There we go. There's three. And obviously to all the Be On Air campuses across the country. Definitely hope to visit, for example, the Miami campus or the Chicago campus, in Colorado. So definitely want to get out there one day. But yeah, thanks for having me. It's fun to be back in the saddle. My background is in radio. So talking about something that I'm very passionate about, something that's been with me since I was like 4 years old. I don't want to say wrestling, but WWE wrestling. So, or as they say, sports entertainment.
Yep, that's what they call it. But as Alvin is joining me for the first time, he kind of knows a bit of what I talk about. Mostly WWE, the main rosters, Raw and SmackDown. So, we are covering all of that. So there were a lot of twists and turns. Did you happen to catch Raw last night, Mr. Alvin Brown?
Of course, yes. I mean, it was a jam-packed show, a lot of ups and downs. It felt like I was on a roller coaster ride.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was huge stuff going down. Ric Flair's birthday was also yesterday, but let's just say the Nature Boy didn't get a chance to enjoy his birthday celebration for an uninvited guest, but we will get later on to that. But yeah, we got a lot to cover in today's show today. We got Raw previews. We got SmackDown Live coming up tonight. Huge matches coming up for Fastlane, too. Can't believe it's only going to be a month away. And then next thing you know, in April, it's going to be WrestleMania 35. Now, there are a lot of matches that have not been yet announced for the grandest stage just yet. But I do believe that there are a lot of superstars that have plenty of potential to actually make it onto the grand stage. And a huge surprise was also included in last night's Raw, too. So if you guys haven't been caught up on Raw or know anything that went down, we are the two people that will be covering all those glamorous things for you guys today.
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Make sure you guys call the number down here or text the show, 614-641-0674. And give us your feedback on what do you think could possibly go down at Fastlane or maybe at WrestleMania or maybe maybe Hall of Fame candidates that could be further announced as WrestleMania looms near. Still can't believe it's only going to be 2 months until WrestleMania. That's crazy.
Oh, my goodness. I feel like Father Time's kicking in over here. 35. It's like, where'd the time go?
Yeah, it's crazy that, WrestleMania is literally right around the corner. We actually have women's tag team champions heading into WrestleMania. So that's huge for the women's division of it all. Just thinking about it, thinking like it was only a dream thought up. Everybody was talking about it, tweeting about it, saying they wanted women's tag team champions for so long. And then finally, Vince McMahon finally listened to the people saying that, okay, we are actually going to be crowning first time ever women's tag team champions. And at the Elimination Chamber 8 days ago, Sasha Banks and Bayley won the first ever women's tag team championship Elimination Chamber match. And man, that match was a sight to behold. I watched it at home and I was on the edge of my seat watching all those teams compete. And I'm thinking like, holy cow, this is crazy. Having all these women tag teams actually competing in this type of environment is so new. They had women compete in it, but having tag teams involved, the men only did that at least 1 year, but now the women being introduced to it, it's it was a whole different ball game, which was a sight to behold, seeing that the women can actually hold their own inside the Elimination Chamber. So that was definitely huge on my part.
Oh, definitely. I mean, my thoughts, man, what some of the new generation, or I should say younger generation, don't understand, but they had tag team titles from about 83 to 89. So we hadn't seen really women tag team champions for, what is that, almost 30 years.
Yeah, that's a long time coming. Like, yeah, they had them. You said in the 80s is when they had them?
Yes, yes. I mean, some names that people don't remember maybe is the Jumping Bomb Angels. I mean, does that ring a bell?
Yeah, WWE Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix was talking about it during the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. She was on the commentary table that night, and she was talking about the Bomb Angels.
And the Glamour Girls.
The Glamour Girls.
Forerunners.
I was just looking about that in my WWE encyclopedia. Turns out Jimmy Hart also managed the Glamour Girls.
And of course, you had so little competition at that time, so it wasn't like, it's a hard thing to say. Was it the best of the best because there were only few tag teams, or are we getting the best of the best now because there's many tag teams? And time will tell.
Definitely, because women were known for being tag team specialists. I would say maybe one or two teams were compatible with each other, but the only women tag team that I really knew was Nikki and Brie Bella, the Bella Twins, because they were sisters and they would always tag together. And then moving on down the line, more women were being paired in tag teams or 3 women groups as WWE got further and further into their evolution. But now you actually have women that will be defending tag team titles as often as the men do. You have Raw tag team champions, SmackDown Live tag team champions, even NXT and NXT UK tag champions. But again, they're all guys because the tag team division and even the singles division was also kind of male dominated. But now having women's tag team championships and also separate women's championships on both brands, it opens a whole new door for women wrestling everywhere. And I agree with this movement so very much, especially me being a wrestling fan since 2008 and seeing how kind of belittled the women in WWE were kind of being, just kind of treated as a bit of side pieces, but also transitioning to that from side pieces to main eventers and then competing in matches that mostly the guys would compete in. It was a huge thing. So it was definitely big.
Yeah, I mean, to not have tag team women champions for 30 years and to have it now, what I would love to see is maybe 6 months to a year from now, we could see what, let's say, Bayley and Sasha and then whoever wins it after them, see how far they can take it and then do SmackDown women's tag team champions, kind of add to it because there's so many women, especially coming through NXT now, to the point where it's just like the World Heavyweight title or Universal title. Like, you can't just have one champion.
True.
So much talent.
Now, the thing is that Raw and SmackDown both have separate tag team champions on both of their brands. Now, the women's tag team titles, I feel they can bounce back from brand to brand. Because at first, before WWE had like the new separate brand titles for both Raw and SmackDown, they had 2 different sets of tag team championships that were exclusive to each brand. You had the World Tag Team Championships that were mostly on Raw, and then just the regular plain tag team championships that were mostly on SmackDown. And then I would say as years went on, heading around WrestleMania 25, the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, it was between Carlito and Primo against John Morrison and The Miz, where they first unified the Raw and SmackDown tag team championships. And later on down the line, they decided to kind of just split the titles between both brands and make 2 different sets of championships for each brand. So, the the titles are kind of different when you think about it, even with the WWE title and the Universal title. The Universal title is exclusive to Raw, while the WWE Championship is exclusive to SmackDown. So it's kind of, division divided when it comes to titles being determined.
That's a funny thing because, I mean, they've been unifying titles back, I believe, since the 60s and 63 when Buddy Rogers and those guys unified the WWF title, back in the day.
Yeah.
And then after that, you kind of had the one champion for so long. And then if you remember when WCW was purchased by the WWF at the time, back in 2001, they had two titles, the World Heavyweight title and WWE title.
Mm-hmm.
Then they, unified them again.
Yeah.
And then they made separate titles again where it's now WWE title, Universal title. So I think it's one of those things where WWE is now using it more as a storyline every, 10 to 15 years. They like to just say, okay, well, now we're going to unify them, and then now we're going to separate them. And at the end of the day, because there's so much talent, like I mentioned earlier, be it women or men, it's just hard to just have one champion, I think, in today's wrestling, at least.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to be taking a break. Remember, guys, keep listening. You're listening to Score on Air, scoreonair.com, Score, the next generation of sports talk radio.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
And welcome back to the next generation of sports talk radio, the scoreonair.com, the Score. Fun Size 2.0 here with my very esteemed co-host, Mr. Alvin Brown.
What's up?
Yes, so as we left you guys off last, we were basically discussing about the good old days of wrestling, where we were discussing titles. But now we are cutting into Monday Night Raw, which happened last night. And if you guys did not know this, yesterday was Ric Flair's 70th birthday. But turns out he was not the only one celebrating a birthday. Do you remember a woman named Maria Kanellis?
Yes, she, was a diva about 10 years ago in her prime.
Yep, her birthday was shared right there with the Nature Boys. But turns out she's more located on 205 Live with her husband, Mike Kanellis. So that's a little bit of a tidbit for everybody that didn't know that Ric Flair and Maria both share a birthday. So that's another thing, and we'll be discussing March birthdays next week. But right now we are cutting into Monday Night Raw, and as we all know, if you guys do not follow Roman Reigns or say probably don't have a preference to like him or hate him, he was battling leukemia for the longest time, and he had to relinquish the Universal Championship due to his battle with leukemia. And knowing me, I've known what it's like to battle an illness. I'm a cancer survivor of neuroblastoma, so I know how he feels, especially his family. My mom went through the same thing. I was 2.5, and having Roman Reigns having a relapse of that, it's scary. And especially with him not being able to do what he loves, it's hard. But as we know, there is good news. There is a light at the end of the tunnel for Roman Reigns, and he is in remission, and he will be back sooner than expected. So maybe a possible triple threat match between former Shield brothers and maybe Brock Lesnar. Now, the thing is that Roman still has unfinished business with Brock Lesnar. So that could possibly come to a head at WrestleMania. But we don't know. It's all up in the air. What do you have to say about this, Alvin, having Roman Reigns coming back and then maybe possibly being involved in the Universal title match at WrestleMania between a former Shield brother in Seth Rollins and an old enemy in Brock Lesnar?
Wow. Well, first of all, him just coming back is just blessing in itself. What he's went through, like you mentioned. So hats off to him there. I think for him to come back, and then he also said in his, if you want to say, comeback speech about how he's going to use the WWE as a platform to, in so many words, basically create awareness for people that are in his position or were in his position, referring to his leukemia. But to answer your question, I would say, I really want to see the Shield in a triple threat match at WrestleMania. I think if you think about it, Brock Lesnar has faced everyone in a singles match from the Shield from the last 5-6 years now. So I don't want to say it's getting stale, but there needs to be something to shake it up. Mm-hmm. So that's how I would answer that.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong. I would kind of love to see all three Shield brothers go at it. But like Dean Ambrose is going his own way, Seth Rollins is going his own way. But if they did come up with a creative idea to actually have the Shield brothers like butt heads at one point, I would love to see that. Definitely would love to see that. And then moving on down the line, the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder look to kind of relapse after being defeated last week by former DIY NXT competitors. It was Johnny Gargano and Thomas Ciampa is his name. I feel like I always pronounced his last name wrong so many times, and I hate myself for that.
I just say the NXT guys.
Yes, the NXT guys. But eventually, the Revival tried to bounce back against NXT stars Aleister Black and Ricochet. Now, I did see their match right out of the gate. The Revival didn't even wait for the bell to even sound before they ganged up on Aleister Black and Ricochet. And Ricochet and Aleister Black have proven their worth to maybe either be on Raw or SmackDown. My perspective, mostly for them to be on SmackDown, because I feel they kind of blend in more with the red brand than the blue brand. But again, that's up to them. If it were up to me, I would have signed them all to Raw. But that's not my jurisdiction to call. But the thing is, the Revival lost twice against Joey Gargano and Thomas Ciampa and Ricochet and Aleister Black. Now, mind you this, there are no more rematch clauses involved in any championship contest at all. So everyone that was a champion has to earn their way back up the ladder now, because they're no longer giving out automatic rematch clauses, because that's how it was. In every champion's rematch or every superstar's contract, there would always be a rematch clause. But now, since it's a new millennium in the McMahon's words, saying that there will be no more given rematches anymore. You have to earn them. You can't just guaranteedly get one like that. You have to earn it.
Well, I think that ties back to what I've been saying earlier about how there's so much talent now. Because back in the day, like, you could do it or have a rematch clause and have a feud, that would last a whole year. But now, because there's so much talent and obviously NXT stars are moving to the main roster, whether they do it 4 times a year or twice a year or during the superstar shakeup, however they decide to do it, eventually, you have no choice but to try to get new matches to keep people engaged.
Yep, that's true. And having all these NXT startups now, speaking of NXT in a way, now the thing is that a lot of the stars that were in NXT, such as Bobby Roode and Samoa Joe, they really should have been moved up to the main roster by themselves. But clearly Vince McMahon saying, no, you're going to stick in NXT until you're ready to move up to the bigger brands. So I think, like, why did he do such a dumb move? Like, they obviously had experience with previous companies such as Impact Wrestling, which both of them were known to be in, but yet he decides to stick them in with the startups and bring their way up. That makes no sense in my mind. If you have a big star such as Samoa Joe or Bobby Roode, even Ethan Carter III is in NXT. He should have been moved up to the main roster. But clearly Vince wants them to start small and then move their way up. I don't think that was such a good idea. If you have a superstar that has very high standards and also a huge athletic resume, don't just shoot them down to where you got the kids starting up. You got to bring them up already with the big dogs. You got to make sure they prove themselves worthy to be admired by all of these other guys that have paid the way and busted their butts more than anybody else. You can't just stick them in with the kids. Come on. Who does that?
Wow. Well, I think there's 2 things you have to look at here. One of the things is if Vince starts taking stars from, let's say, New Japan and TNA and all these companies around the world, which is a good place to, get talent once their contract's expired, and just puts them to the main roster. See, what you're failing to see here is that, and a lot of people don't get this, is that it would mean that those companies are on the same level as WWE. So how do you still remain the big dog, or, no pun with Roman Reigns, but how do you stay as the number 1 company is you say, okay, well, you're good enough. We recognize you have experience in, New Japan or in TNA or in the UK, but we want you to go through our system because you have to admit the WWE style of wrestling now. I don't know if there even is a style of wrestling. It definitely isn't the style of, let's say, Canadian wrestlers or Mexican wrestlers or over in Asia. So their style is really more, if you can do, some of the basic holds or a lot of them consistent, but WWE is storyline driven. So a lot of these companies that stars come from, they don't have a lot of exposure when it comes to the storyline element. So my theory behind why people just don't start on the main roster is so they can ingratiate themselves with the, if you want to call it, Vince McMahon system.
The Vince system. That doesn't work really for anybody. But moving on down the line, well, we still got a few more minutes before we take our next break. Now, if anybody has followed a bit of the story between Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, now we all know that I would say maybe at least 8 days after the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, or before then, it was supposed to be Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's title. But, as you said, the Vince factor kicked in, Alvin, and he boots out Becky and suspends her for 60 days, which, mind you, is after WrestleMania. And he puts Charlotte in Becky's place. Now, Becky Lynch was furious. She showed up 8 days ago at the Elimination Chamber, started swinging her crutch at both Charlotte and Ronda. And Ronda got a pretty bad cut above her head, and she was bleeding pretty bad. And I've never been hit with a steel crutch before, and I don't plan on ever getting hit by one. And Becky Lynch, lo and behold, showed up last night and assaulted Natalya, one of Ronda Rousey's good friends. And let's just say the Raw Women's Champion was not happy about the fact that Becky Lynch kept showing up literally 2 nights, maybe 2 or 3 nights in a row, and just causing chaos throughout all WWE events. So Ronda eventually took it upon herself to try to call out Vince McMahon, but she didn't get the chairman. She got the chairman's daughter, Stephanie McMahon. And Ronda wanted Becky Lynch reinstated to stop the carnage. But clearly, Stephanie McMahon told Ronda no. And later on, and they had a war of words, and it led to another thing. Ronda looked like she was about to swing at Stephanie so hard. I would have loved to see that. And Stephanie McMahon literally backed up as Ronda was explaining her speech. But Ronda said, you want to try to do what's best for business? Then do what's best for business, because I can't take it anymore. And left everyone speechless last night in Atlanta, leaving the Raw Women's Championship in the ring at Stephanie McMahon's feet, and walked out. And that was just, that was just mind-blowing right there. And, oh, man. Like, now that means, what does this mean for WrestleMania? Will the McMahons reinstate Becky Lynch and drop all the charges? Or will there just be no women's championship match headlining WrestleMania? What does it mean?
Well, Ronda's still the champion in my eyes. She didn't say I relinquished the title or anything like that. But I mean, it's going to come down to Vince probably reinstating Becky Lynch. Mm-hmm. Magically, her leg will heal before WrestleMania, or be, at least 80%. And she'll probably win the match. But the thing is, she'll probably pin Charlotte, not Ronda in the triple threat match. That's my theory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of think that too. It could play a factor in it, but we are not certain. But we are going to be taking another break. Make sure you guys keep watching as we cover more of Monday Night Raw when we come back from the break. Remember, Next Generation of Sports Talk Radio, The Score on air, The Score.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
back, everybody, to the next generation of sports talk radio. The Score on air at thescore.com. The Score, Fun Size here. Alvin Brown still here. And as we left you guys off from our last break, we were discussing the Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey and her best friend Natalya facing off against the Riot Squad in a 2-on-3 handicap match, which resulted after the match when Becky Lynch got herself involved and eventually arrested later that night after that. And I think I didn't mention to you, did you happen to catch last week's Raw where Ronda eventually faced all 3 members of the Riot Squad by herself because she was frustrated?
Yeah, definitely. It was, how do I say this? Tough of her?
Definitely, yeah. Ronda, oh boy, I wouldn't want to be on that woman's bad side at all.
Not when you're coined the baddest woman on the planet.
Oh yeah. Well, technically it's the other term, but you know, since it's WWE and it's PG now, they had to say the baddest woman on the planet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, even though they slip in the B words from time to time, but they still keep it PG. Still hate that fact though, but you know what? It's the new millennium, kids are involved, you know, we can't do anything about it. But moving on down the line, the Monday Night Raw lineup. Let's just say the modern-day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, was not happy that he wasn't invited to the Nature Boy's birthday. So, eventually, the Zen one, if you will, took it upon himself to challenge one of Ric Flair's many invited party guests. And lo and behold, Milkomania himself, the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, greeted the modern-day Maharaja's open challenge by making him tap out. Man, I would hate to be in an ankle lock. I bet that hurt.
It looked like he twisted it off when he tapped out and rolled out of the ring. Jinder, that is.
Yep, Jinder Mahal. But Kurt Angle wasn't done that night. He actually delivered, let's just say, a couple of well-deserved suplexes to Sunil and Samir Singh that night. And I think it was either Sunil or Samir that got really the worst of one of the suplexes. As soon as he came back up, he had like a drunk look in his eyes and then just fell over.
Oh, well, those guys are pretty light. So, you know, Kurt thought he was suplexing Jinder. But, you know, when you have a lighter guy, you still got the same lift power. Mm-hmm. And he just overcompensated, I think.
Yeah, I think he got way a lot on that, bro.
2 suplexes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as we all know, Finn Balor won the Intercontinental Championship against both Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush in a 2-on-1 handicap match situation. I was rooting for Finn Balor the entire time that match was going on. Obviously knew Finn would win. But as Alexa Bliss's new show, Moment of Bliss, had the Intercontinental Champion himself, Finn Balor, on there, let's just say Lio Rush was still upset with himself after being pinned by the extraordinary man that can do extraordinary things at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Now, the thing is that Lio Rush was upset that Bobby Lashley was no longer the Intercontinental Champion. But Finn Balor took it to where Lio Rush was challenging him for the Intercontinental Championship. Because obviously Lio Rush being Bobby Lashley's hype man, either one of those. So eventually it erupted into a Intercontinental Championship rematch, but minus the almighty Bobby Lashley in the mix. Now, Lio Rush did put up a good fight, despite going after Balor's leg. Well, actually, no, it wasn't his leg. It was his knee that was tweaked a bit. But, again, Lio Rush couldn't topple up against Finn Balor. But although Lio Rush did put up a good of a fight, despite getting a coup de grace from the top rope, even though Balor had a bum leg. Man, can there nobody that can really stop the momentum of Finn Balor heading into WrestleMania right now? Or could Bobby Lashley possibly slip in to gain another Intercontinental Championship match against Finn Balor? What do you think, Alvin?
I think it's going to come down to the battle of the abs. Yeah, forget about the Intercontinental title. I think
the battle of abs.
I mean, Alexa Bliss mentioned it on A Moment of Bliss. She said, you show me your abs because Finn Balor was, sitting in the chair and he was covering them up with the title he was wearing. And she said, I'll show you and then
Leo Rush interrupted it.
Leo Rush interrupts. And
I believe Corey Graves was upset at Leo Rush saying, "You ruined it."
Very upset. That's the first time I think he was genuinely upset on air. So
no, he's been upset multiple times. Corey Graves is just too much of a fanboy. I can't stand it when he literally just gogs over Mandy Rose, who we get to later on in the broadcast.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll get back to Mandy Rose and Corey Graves' little ascension a bit later. But let's just say Bobby Lashley was not happy with Leo Rush losing to Finn Balor. And let's just say Bobby Lashley had his hands full with the monster among men, Braun Strowman. Now, mind you this, Braun Strowman, I have seen him in action before on Raw when I went to a live event of Raw. It was a live taping. And I watched his matches against the likes of Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and a bunch of other guys. Mostly Baron Corbin is probably the latest series of matches that he's had. This man is insane. He literally survived an ambulance backing into a semi-truck and walked out on his own power. He flipped over an ambulance. He flipped over the front of a semi-truck over. And he even flipped Vince McMahon's limo on its side. If that's not monster strength, I don't know what is. This man is... Ooh, man. I'm mad because of all the matches that he's had with Brock Lesnar. And let's just say that they all ended up short. But if given the chance, Braun Strowman could actually beat Brock Lesnar easy. Like I've been saying literally throughout all of my entire broadcast when I mentioned Brock Lesnar, go for his legs. Those are the most easiest targets anybody can go for. Finn Balor even went through them during the Royal Rumble match. He was so close to regaining the Universal title that he never lost. But, again, Brock overpowered him, being the meathead that he is, and Balor came up short.
Yeah, unfortunately, he is like a lot. He's like Bryan Daniel, or Daniel Bryan, I should say.
Bryan Daniel?
Well, he's Bryan Daniels in real life. But I was going to say he's like Bryan Daniel Bryanson.
Oh, look at that. We got a caller. Holy cow, we got a caller with us. Hello, my friend, Albert Pride. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you today?
My friend.
Okay, great. I heard what you had to say about Braun Strowman, and on my way to my car from work, I was wondering about who might be the top 3 contenders for the Universal Championship if, for some reason, Jeff
Albert, you there?
Job done. I'm sorry, go ahead. Still there? Hello?
Can you hear me,
Hello?
Albert?
Yeah. I'm back. I think we lost each other.
It's weird. Can't hear
I
you,
can't hear you.
Albert. Oh, let me switch it. So weird, I can't hear. That's weird. Oh boy, man. Talk about technical difficulties, that's nuts. My friend Albert Pride, he usually calls the show, but eventually I can hear him. Man, that's weird. But either way, like, with, as I was mentioning, Braun Strowman's, like, crazy, like, strength, it's insane. And I'm mad how his matches with Brock Lesnar kind of ended. And it's, it kind of sucks how his matches went. So, either way, that's kind of just how it is. But, moving on down the line, there was also a no disqualification match between the Lunatic Fringe Dean Ambrose and the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre. Let's just say the Elias eventually gets involved, and it just results into complete chaos. As also Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin make their way down in the ring, but lo and behold, the Big Dog and the Architect come to save their Shield brother in the nick of time. Talk about a Shield reunion that no one saw coming. But definitely the match between Dean Ambrose and Drew McIntyre was nuts.
Yeah, the Shield coming together, it's almost like they're prepping for a face turn, at least for Dean.
Could be.
And all of them kind of coming back together.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the Irish Psychopath, I would love to see him face John Cena at WrestleMania.
The Scottish Psychopath, Drew McIntyre against Cena?
Muscle versus muscle, and
Claymore Kick versus Attitude Adjustment at 5 Knuckle Shuffle. That sounds like a very unique combo. All right. Let's see who we got here. It's Albert again. Hey, Albert, how you doing?
Hey, I'm back.
All right.
I don't know what happened. We got cut off, so now I guess it's loud as phone service.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But in any event, thanks for taking my call, and hello to your guests. It's good to see you got the KC partners on in the studio with you for a change.
I know, right? Finally, I found someone that actually enjoys the same interests that you and I do.
That's just great. Because I can tell you from personal experience, I felt it inside of your radio talk show flying solo.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely difficult, but you have held up magnificently.
Thank you. So, you got any questions for me and Alvin, Mr. Albert Pride?
Yeah. As I was alluding to earlier before the phone cut off,
Mm-hmm.
I sat here wondering when is Braun Strowman finally going to get his shot at the Universal title, because I think he's wasting too much precious time with that idiot Baron Corbin. And I think the more time he wastes trying to resolve that conflict, the dimmer his star gets. In spite of everything that he's accomplished, like you described so eloquently earlier.
Mm-hmm. I would probably... Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say, who would you put behind Strowman for a shot at the Universal title if, for some reason, Seth Rollins does not come through? And again, I hope you take your advice and just relentlessly goes after Brock's chicken legs.
I agree.
That's the only way it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Wait down.
Yep. Now, if Seth were not able to compete at WrestleMania, and if Braun couldn't do it, oh man, that's a compromising position for somebody to be in. Brock is a very formidable foe, but still, he's got a lot of power backing him up, and also the loud squawking parrot known as Paul Heyman behind him, who probably has no social life of his own. But
You have no idea how much I despise that man. I can't stand these vicarious hangers-on like him.
mm-hmm.
Classic example of one. He's useless without someone to bolster his existence, and that's what Lesnar does.
Ain't that the truth?
And I'm just sick of both of them. But I think the one person, if Strowman or Rollins don't get the job done,
Mm-hmm.
the only person I see on the roster that can take him out right now is Drew McIntyre.
yes.
He was talking about that when I think it was a 6-man fatal 4-way type deal before the Royal Rumble, around the Royal Rumble, where he was spewing to Vince McMahon saying, I'm the one that should be facing Brock Lesnar, not Cena, not Baron Corbin, and not Finn Balor. I'm thinking like, okay, now that was actually a match I wanted to see. So yes, if Rollins or Strowman could not make it to the grandest stage of them all, I would put my money on Drew McIntyre to best the beast. What do you think, Alvin?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that look that the Irish psychopath has, Drew McIntyre has, and where he's at the level of his career.
Yeah, it's Scottish, not Irish.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of I'm thinking of Becky Lynch for some reason.
Becky Lynch is known as the man in the Irish last kicker.
Yes. Sorry, I was back on planet Earth. But the point is, where Drew McIntyre is at this stage of his career, he's ready for that big match situation. I mean, I remember him, and I'm sure you do too, when he was part of the 3-man band.
Oh my gosh, that
going
thing.
from that to feuding with like Kurt Angle, and now it would only be natural to have him go for a championship run.
Mm-hmm. He has had Intercontinental Championship gold under his belt. He is a former tag team champion in his own right. So going after another major championship would actually be a huge notch, especially toppling Brock Lesnar, who hasn't been on Raw since what? Rollins pointed this out a couple months ago, since 2002. So, yeah, Brock has not been on Raw programming since then.
Now, I want to ask, do you remember when you had to defend the title in 30 days? What happened to that rule?
Thank you. Very good question. I've been wondering about that for the longest. But for some reason, whenever I tweet that question to WWE headquarters, well, you know how one-sided those conversations get on social media.
Mm-hmm.
But they won't take the time to answer your question with concern.
Because remember, back in the day, that's what kept things fresh. Is, okay, who's going to defend their title at the next pay-per-view? But with Brock Lesnar, you might see him every 2 to 3 pay-per-views. So he's going like 90 days without defending a title.
Exactly. And speaking of rematches, how is it that the so-called world's greatest tag team or greatest tag team in the world, whatever the world is calling themselves, get another shot at the Usos when Vince declared, how long ago? No more rematch clause.
But
Is there some kind of fine print that says unless your last name is McMahon?
well, if surveys shows me correct, Shane McMahon was the commissioner of SmackDown Live. So it could be possible that Shane McMahon, using his old commissioner ways to give Miz and himself another rematch. But, I don't know. Maybe it is because you have to be a McMahon in order to run the show around Raw and SmackDown as you please.
That makes it no better than Baron Corbin when he was commissioner, not commissioner, but general manager of Raw.
Don't get me started on him. Do not get me started. Don't. Please don't.
When that match takes place between the Usos and Shane and the Miz, I hope the next trip to the Uso Penitentiary is one of extreme pain.
What's up, Oos?
Yeah. And the Usos are now 6-time tag team champions. Now, they're almost right up there with the Hardy Boys and the Dudleys with tag team championship wins. So, if their momentum keeps going, then, they're definitely down to be one of the greatest tag teams, as well as the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, among others.
Whoa. First of all, are the Hardys and Dudleys up there as the greatest? Because I know some tag teams that are ahead of them. There you go.
Yeah.
The Road Warriors, Scott and Rick Steiner, the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs. Now, I know these are old school names, but I think they get lost in the shuffle, and people want to, rightfully so, jump to, I would say, the 3 names in the modern era that come to mind are the Dudleys, Hardys, and Edge and Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to also factor in that there are some tag teams, in my eyes, that were better than them.
What about the Freebirds and the Four Horsemen?
Well, the Freebirds... they introduced rock and roll to not just WWE, but wrestling, period, because they were the first tag team to have entrance music. And as far as the Four Horsemen, they were more of a stable, but, I mean, even in that stable, they were able to basically be the first to tell you how much money they had and how wealthy they were or are, and brag about it. And it was cool.
Plus, they were dripping with all the gold during the NWA days.
Did you see my book I have here on the table? I got my Ric Flair autobiography, and I actually had the Ric Flair drip on repeat coming in. So we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, why don't you show the book to the camera, Albert, of what he has. He's literally got the Ric Flair book, To Be the Man.
Woo!
And man, look at that book. Man, that was when Ric Flair had luscious hair. Had that glorious little mullet. And you got it signed by Flair? Or was that just how it's printed?
Oh, I just act like I got it signed, but that's the way it was printed.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, you got it signed by the Nature Boy himself? I'm mad at you.
Oh, man. I have so much memorabilia back at my house. It's just shameful.
There's nothing to be shameful about.
Oh, you're still a young lady. I got a feeling your arm is just beginning, and you're going to probably run into more legendary wrestling superstars, past, present, and future. Long before your time is done.
Mm-hmm.
You hang in there. You think he's having fun? Your fun is just begun. I hope you line up that on-phone interview with one of the superstars.
Definitely. I'm so on it. I've reached out to Becky Lynch, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte. I got to reach out to more. I got to start tweeting like crazy.
Well, I'll put in a good word or two for you as well. Some of the ones that I've been going back and forth with.
All right. Thank you, Albert, so much. And thanks for calling, like always.
My pleasure. Enjoying the show as usual.
All right. All right, so moving on down the line, my notes were kind of mixed up because I think I was typing too fast and looking through all of this.
It happens.
Yeah, my notes are kind of out of order, but we are going to go in order by what I have in front of me right now. So, I already mentioned the Monster Among Men, Dean Ambrose match. Well, actually, my notes aren't out of order at all, so I think I'm good. We had the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, one half of the Boston Hug Connection, Bayley, actually beat the irresistible force Nia Jax. Now, mind you this, Nia Jax is at least maybe 600 pounds, but you can tell in the photos that she's kind of lost weight.
She's not 600 pounds.
I don't know. That's what she was saying when they cut the promo before the Elimination
Who
Chamber
said that?
pay-per-view. Nia did.
She said she was 600?
I think she said either 600 or 300 pounds. One of the two.
I would say 300. 600,
well,
no.
I don't know. I probably don't pay attention to any of Nia's promos because she talks so quickly and she's so arrogant and brash.
But whatever weight she is, she's pretty fast.
She is.
I mean, I'll give her that. Very agile, quick, man.
Yeah, definitely.
She's better shaped than I am.
But definitely, Nia is, when you see most of the divas, such as Terry Reynolds, Kelly, Layla, they were all thin Barbie doll type, women.
Mm-hmm.
And Beth Phoenix wasn't really, kind of like the Barbie doll shape either. She was around kind of like, kind of built tough as the late great Chyna was. And then Karma, she was in the WWE for maybe 2011, 2012. And then Nia also being one of the heavyset women also. That kind of breaks barriers saying plus size women can't wrestle. They're too big and too hefty. Well, Nia broke that stereotype and broke the glass ceiling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now, bringing up Nia Jax. Now, the thing is, she had the most idea to actually enter herself into the men's Royal Rumble match.
Mm-hmm.
She took out R-Truth, who was supposed to enter at number 30, due to the fact that he and Carmella won the Mixed Match Challenge Season 2 to enter in their respective Royal Rumble matches last. Nia was upset that she got eliminated, so she took it upon herself to eliminate R-Truth and go in the number 30 spot to try to win the men's Battle Royal. Now, if you also look back at history, only Beth Phoenix and Chyna, and now Nia Jax is among that list of 3 women who have actually entered the men's portion of the Royal Rumble match. And yet Nia's men's matchup was short-lived.
Man, that RKO, man, woman, or beast, that was a pretty cool sell. She really flopped down, and I believed it. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, Yeah, she really.
As Randy Orton's tagline or slogan, out of
Out
nowhere.
of nowhere. Mm-hmm.
So, hats off to Nia Jax, though, for doing that and competing in the Men's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, definitely breaking a stereotype with that one. And then also, let's just say the stars were out last night for Ric Flair's 70th birthday party.
Woo!
Exactly. They had 2 video packages, one from Snoop Dogg and one from the Texas Rattlesnake himself, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And there were a lot of stars that showed up to Ric Flair's little birthday bash. Kurt Angle, who was already there heading towards the end of the night. HBK, the Heartbreak Kid. Sting, and one of Ric Flair's greatest rivals, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Despite all of them being older, they look amazing. They look great for their age. But let's just say the Nature Boy's birthday wasn't all happy and go-lucky as the Nate's hoped and intended. Let's just say an uninvited animal showed up, and that animal being Batista. And let's just say this kind of accumulated back at a few months ago during SmackDown's 1000th episode, where Evolution reunited for the first time in years. Ric Flair, Randy Orton, Batista, and Triple H. All 4 of them together in the same ring. Let's just say there were some comments that were not meant to be said, and it kind of just exploded between Triple H and Dave Batista, but Ric Flair, being the peacemaker, cut them off before anything in tempers flared, if you will. No pun intended to Ric Flair's name. But Dave Batista basically invited himself as an unwanted party guest and resulted in beating down Ric Flair and giving the game this famous quote. This was after Raw went off the air. And Batista directly said into the camera, "Hey Hunter, do I have your attention now?" Now, know this, that Batista and Triple H's rivalry is still pretty deep. I feel that Dave is still having a bit of maybe backlash, if you will, due to their rivalries with the World Heavyweight title being involved. Batista defeating Triple H at WrestleMania, I believe it was 22. Ooh, excuse me. No, I think it was either 23 or 22 when Dave Batista first won the World Heavyweight title. Then that rival escalated after that. Then they kind of just buried the hatchet, reformed Evolution to start a rivalry with the Shield, and I feel that this is probably going to lead up to WrestleMania 35, where this rivalry is going to come to a head. Triple H versus Batista. So what do you think about Batista's message with involving the Nature Boy on his 70th birthday, literally assaulting him on his birthday? How do you feel about that?
Wow. Definitely unexpected. I don't think anyone saw that coming because WWE's had a lot of heartfelt moments live on air, especially on Raw. But to see Dave Batista there in the back, and that, you know, you perk up, you stand in your seat, you know, in your couch seat, and you're just like, whoa, wait a minute, that's Batista, the animal. And then for him to really to turn heel, because prior to that he was a face. So you're thinking he's going to be a lot of emotions there because he's unannounced. He comes, you think he's going to help celebrate Ric Flair's party. He turns heel. Then I guess you could say in so many words challenges Triple H because he asked him, does he have his attention now, huh? You know? And so as far as him being there, obviously great for TV, but as far as going forward, me personally, I really think it's going to be like the John Cena incident where he had never lost to John Cena, and then he finally lost to him at WrestleMania 2010.
Oh, so you're thinking of, The Rock versus Cena, once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime, kind of like that sort of situation?
Not really. Where I was going with that was like the mystique of Batista is that there were certain guys that never beat him, like John Cena,
Yeah.
Triple H. And so a few years back, well, not a few years, almost a decade now, back in WrestleMania 26, so that was in 2010, he lost to John Cena.
Oh, yeah,
But prior to that, he had never lost to John Cena. So what I'm saying is now he's going to come back, and then he's going to lose to a guy in Triple H that he never lost to. So, the storyline is going to be the same like it was about 10 years ago with John Cena and Batista. Only this time it's Triple H and Batista. And, for me, as a Batista fan, that's what made Batista Batista. There were just guys that could not beat him. But now if he's just coming back to lose to Triple H, then it's like, well, why? I mean, I know he's going to get a big payday, but storyline-wise, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, they gotta keep the rivalry at least, going for a while. They can't just expect, either Triple H or Batista to lose and then just end the rivalry right then and there. But when you think about it, having Dave Batista beating up Ric Flair, one of his mentors, basically Triple H and Batista's mentor, their guiding light into the business. They were trained by the dirtiest player in the game during their Evolution run in 2006. So having Dave literally turn on Flair just makes Triple H even more steamed because Triple H idolized Ric Flair growing up. How do you think that feels to have your idol literally beat down on his birthday? I'm bringing that up again. Come on. You can't beat up a 7-year-old Ric Flair.
I don't mean to laugh, but the way you said that, you're like, how do you feel when he gets beat down on his birthday?
Yeah, come on. No one wants to be beat down on their birthday, especially Ric Flair. Come on, he's the one that's always the life of the party.
Well, I have mixed emotions about it because I can guarantee you anything Ric Flair said, yeah, I'll be a part of this build, and he probably was gung-ho. But on a personal level, I just think he should not be involved in physical storylines at this stage of his, well, if you want to say career, although his career is obviously over in-ring wise, because, he had, as many of you know, the health scare last year.
Oh, yeah.
Him going through that and obviously, any type of illness like that would change anyone. And I'm not saying he can't be who he used to be. I'm just saying, like, there should come a time where he just shouldn't be involved in heavy storylines like that anymore. Like what happened on the 1000th episode of SmackDown. That's different. Him just coming between Batista and Triple H and kind of talking them out of it. That's cool. But as far as him getting drug across the ground and, just being dragged
that
and
was kind of too
drugged.
Much. That was too much.
It was a bit much, yeah, because it would be like, what about your grandfather, being dragged like that? I mean, like I said, Batista coming back invoked a lot of emotions from a surprise emotion, shocked, disbelief. I mean, just a lot of stuff happened in that, I would say, 3 to 5 minutes that is a lost art in WWE. Like, when was the last time you felt connected to a wrestler getting, like you said, beat down on their birthday? Like, I can't remember. It's been a while since I had that connection. So one of the things I like about WWE that they're doing with that whole angle is that they're bringing the realism back into storylines.
Now it'd be better if they cut off on the lights being backstage. Like, okay, we get it. They look fine without the light, but still, why do they need all that extra light? Just make it, like, plain. But, that's how they roll. Well, as we're, on the subject, as we keep it going, we're actually going to cut into the SmackDown portion, and then we'll be taking a break after this. So, as SmackDown is rolling on tonight, starting at 8 on USA, and where will they be live? Let's see. They will be live in Charlotte, North Carolina, Ric Flair's hometown, at the Spectrum Center for SmackDown Live tonight. And there will be an official contract signing between two of the remaining participants that were in the Elimination Chamber 8 days ago. The new Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston will be signing their contract to make it official at WWE Fastlane. Now, how Kofi Kingston became the number one contender for Daniel Bryan's World Heavyweight WWE title. I don't know why I'm calling it the World Heavyweight Championship. They don't have it anymore. But there was a 6-man tag team battle to determine who would be Daniel Bryan's number one contender when it would be revealed. I believe it was Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and Kofi Kingston on a team with Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, and I don't think Mustafa Ali was involved in that match due to him being injured. I can't remember who the third participant was. I didn't really catch SmackDown that night, and I'm disappointed with myself. But Kofi Kingston won the opportunity to face Daniel Bryan at Fastlane, and I believe it's well-deserved. They will be signing the contract officially tonight to have the match at Fastlane, which will actually be here in Ohio. So that's gonna be huge. A nationwide arena. That's gonna be nuts. Now, I'm going to give my critiques on Daniel Bryan's title choice. The title looks like a 5-year-old made it in arts and crafts and was very good at woodshop. That's all I'm going to say.
You don't like the eco-friendly
I'm not a fan of his design. I'm huge for saving the environment, but why did you have to change the title to look like it was made out of a burlap sack?
Me and you could have made something better than that.
Yeah, I'm thinking okay, so basically you just cut out the shape of the title on a burlap sack and then just had some wood grain on it and then found some pretty little rocks and painted them. Oh my goodness, it's oh my gosh, it's so awful. I'm thinking man.
Yeah, it's not it doesn't have the same effect when Cody Rhodes brought back the Intercontinental Classic title. It's
okay. Now Cody Rhodes' road to bringing back an older version of a title made sense.
Right, that makes sense.
But with Daniel Bryan completely changing it from leather to burlap, why? It's like you want to just carry around like just a sack. You carry a sack on your shoulder or around your waist.
But how is that any different from John Cena with the spinner title, or The Rock with the Brahma Bull belt, or Stone Cold with the Smoking Skull belt?
Those were cool.
You don't think the eco-friendly belt is cool?
It's okay if you're for I want to hug a tree and save the environment. But this is wrestling. I understand he wants to spread a message of being eco-friendly, but why change the title? And he literally threw the original title in the garbage, saying this leather on here was made of a cow. I'm pretty sure her name was Bessie. Why are you going through a cow's life story when you don't even know said cow? Why? But it's part of Daniel Bryan's character, so that's all I'm going to say. Oh, so Daniel Bryan was involved in this 6-man tag team match that was involved last week on SmackDown. So I couldn't remember who it was, but now it says Kingston pinned Daniel Bryan on the last 2 editions of SmackDown Live, while in turn Bryan pinned Kingston inside the Elimination Chamber to retain his eco-friendly WWE Championship. God, why does that sound so awful? I understand it's eco-friendly, but still, come on, really? You had to change it completely to make it look like a 5-year-old made it? I understand that Daniel Bryan has a daughter at home. I'm thinking okay, you have a daughter. Her name is Birdie Joe. But seriously, I bet your daughter could have made a better title than that. She could at least add more color to it. Come on, she's maybe 4 months? 4 months old? But their daughter is beautiful.
Birdie
Joe, that is her name. She is a beautiful little girl, and it's just so adorable how Brie and Daniel are raising their daughter, and she's so cute. Definitely look up a picture of her. She is too cute. She'll just steal your heart away.
Most definitely. Birdie was a name that I wanted to give myself.
You wanted to name yourself Birdie?
Yeah, not I want to name myself Bird. The Birdman.
The Birdman.
Mm-hmm.
I think they already. Well, Coco Beware is already known as the Birdman.
Yeah, and you see what happened to his career. His career tanked.
Yeah, but he's a Hall of Famer now, so he doesn't have to worry about it.
That's true too. But this brings up. I know this is going off a little bit, but that's one of the things with the Hall of Fame. I think they're starting to let just anybody get in there because let's be honest, Coco Beware, he didn't really win a lot of He wasn't involved in the high storylines either, high profile storylines. So I don't know, but that's a whole nother subject, I guess.
Yeah, but when you think about it, I believe Coco Beware was actually the first to actually introduce animals into wrestling. Because when you think about it, Coco Beware always had that parrot with him. And then Jake the Snake Roberts kind of took what Coco Beware did, and he kept bringing a giant python with him to the ring in a literally a burlap sack, scaring the holy bejesus out of people that had a phobia of snakes.
Well, that's what happened to Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was in the Royal Rumble one year, and Jake the Snake came up in there with the snake.
Everybody cleared out.
And Andre eliminated himself.
I wouldn't blame him. I didn't want to go near that snake.
That's like a 700-pound man just going over the top rope.
Hey, even giants are afraid of snakes.
Right, so.
All right, we are going to be taking another break, and we'll be covering more SmackDown Live. You guys are listening to Next Generation of Sports Talk Radio, thescoreonair.com, The Score.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
welcome back, everybody, to the next generation of sports talk radio. The Score and Air, the Score. It is Fun Size still here, along with Albert Brown. As we were discussing, we were last left up on Johnny Gargano, facing off against the Bar Swiss Cyborg Cesaro in a rematch, basically a one-on-one contest from last week's tag team defeat. Let's just say the Bar hasn't been themselves since they lost to, let's just say, The Miz and Shane for their tag team championships. So they kind of been, let's say, off their block, per se, with their tag team chemistry or their wins. Then, as we finished up with Gargano, wonder how he'll pull up a win tonight. Now I'm looking forward to that match. We have Aleister Black and Ricochet again in tag team action, but this time against the Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. So let's see how Aleister Black and Ricochet will stand against the King of Strong Style and Rusev Day. Okay, now, yeah, he started going by that. He's saying every day is Rusev Day.
I'm sorry.
You had to go there. You had to do the Aiden English route. No, it's funny because now Aiden English is actually on 205 Live now doing commentary.
Isn't that interesting? Do you think it has anything to do with that botched tombstone pile driver from The Undertaker at Crown Jewel?
Maybe. I don't know, maybe. But I think with Aleister Black and Ricochet having amazing tag team chemistry after last night's Raw against the Revival, I think they could probably tackle over Nakamura and Rusev, because we all know they don't work that well together. Because I've seen their match maybe 2 weeks ago, and they were not a cohesive unit in the slightest. They were not. They didn't even really blend together, so if they don't get along, then obviously the NXT upstarts are going to get a one-up on them, which it will not surprise me at all. Now, the SmackDown Live Women's Champion actually made her presence felt last week and wanted to have a challenger. And let's just say the Golden Goddess Mandy Rose stepped up to offer the Empress of Tomorrow a challenge. Yet, thanks to Lacey Evans' distraction on both the Goddess and the Empress, let's just say that Asuka was on the short end of the stick, if you will, and she wants redemption. So maybe we could see the rematch from last week between Mandy Rose and the Empress? Now, there's actually a video up that shows Mandy Rose having adhesive tape. Now, she competed in the Elimination Chamber, so that's where that tape comes in. It actually looks pretty cool, though, to be honest, that having that tape on the arm. But I really think Asuka can bounce back. And actually, she was undefeated for, I think it was a decade or two. She was undefeated for a while until her undefeated streak was broken by Charlotte at WrestleMania 30. Yeah, I know. That streak was short-lived. I wish it would have lived longer, but it didn't. And then, well, that's all the rundown for SmackDown that we have, but there's more. Like always, there's more. As we all know, Fastlane is right around the corner, and we already have at least 3 matches already in the works. So, Albert, why don't you go ahead and read off those championship matches that will be happening at Fastlane in a month?
SmackDown? You said? No.
The Fastlane matches.
Fastlane. Oh, okay. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, because I'm mostly the one doing the talking. I gotta, give you some speaking room.
Are you sure you want me to do this?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Let me get my voice together. So, you mentioned the Usos earlier. Mm-hmm. They're going to go against The Miz and Shane McMahon. I do know that.
The co-besties.
Now, is this a tag team
It's a
rematch? Or is it just a tag team championship match? So, do we have to define it? Because earlier in the show, we were talking about rematch clauses.
Mm-hmm. I would probably say this is just a tag team championship match. I'm not sure necessarily if it is a rematch, but I would say it's probably just a regular tag team title match. Not really necessarily for a rematch clause, but it's
just a title match.
Just a title match.
Okay, and then we have Bryan Daniel versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship, which I'm pretty happy about because it's about time somebody from the New Day to have a crack at gold.
Yeah, Kofi Kingston has been in the basically been in the WWE longer than Xavier Woods and Big E. So it's about time he's got a championship just due. And the contract will be signed tonight, so make sure you guys watch SmackDown tonight because that's going to be huge.
And so far, the third match for Fastlane is the Boss and Hug Connection.
That's Bayley and Sasha Banks. That's the name they go by.
Man, and the Nia Jax. Nia, I want to call her the Nia Jax because she's such a statement. But anyway, Nia Jax and Tamina. So I'd like to call them like the Samoan sisters or something like that. Or
they actually call themselves the Samoan Slaughterhouse.
Oh, okay, close enough. But I wanted to make it for this era in wrestling because that might have worked in the Attitude Era.
The Samoan Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, but we got to keep it PG friendly. But
yeah.
Those are your 3 matches so far for Fastlane 2019.
Yep.
Definitely is the last stop before WrestleMania, unless you want to count NXT TakeOver New York.
That's usually before WrestleMania.
Right.
So.
But as far as the main roster, Fastlane's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Fastlane's it. And then obviously WrestleMania 35.
Mm-hmm. And always before the grandest stage of them all takes place, we have the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Now, if you guys do not know, the first inductees that will be inducted into this year's class, it was announced by ESPN that D-Generation X, all members, will be inducted into the Hall of Fame class of 2019. That includes X-Pac, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, Chyna, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. So when you think about it, Shawn will be earning his second ring.
Two-time.
Yeah, even though Ric Flair did it first.
Woo!
Yep. So Shawn will be earning his second ring. Hunter will be getting his first, along with the Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, and X-Pac, and Chyna will be deserving her ring as well. Even though she passed away before she can enter into the Hall of Fame. But they're not the only ones, and they're not alone. The Honky Tonk Man will be inducted into the 2019 class of the Hall of Fame before the night at WrestleMania. Now, I think, wasn't it the Honky Tonk Man that had the longest Intercontinental Championship reign, or was that somebody else?
No, that's the Honky Tonk Man, and self-proclaimed the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time.
Yep. That is the Honky Tonk Man.
Definitely a long time coming, though. As long as he's been in the business and some of the things he said about certain wrestlers and obviously some certain things wrestlers have said about him. But that's one of the things I like about, and I don't know if it was Triple H that brought that together as well, because as many of you know, Triple H is responsible for some returns to the WWE, like Bruno Sammartino before he passed away. I think Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett, possibly.
Jeff Double J. Oh, man, when he came back at the Royal Rumble, I was thinking like, oh my gosh, it's Double J! Then him having him on Raw and the Road Dogg and then singing their song, My Baby Tonight. I'm thinking like, oh man,
And the last one really quick that comes to mind is The Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
So, when you think about what Triple H has done to help bring back talent that, supposedly the bridge is burned down and is floating downstream type thing, I think it's really good. And the one I'd really like to see him bring back is CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, because CM Punk would be the first person that he actually had a riff with. Because you notice those names I mentioned, those were names that had a bit of a riff with Vince McMahon. And Triple H kind of stepped in as kind of like the middle guy to bring them back. But I would love to see Triple H work on a talent that he had issues with and, try to bring him back. That's why it always leaves the question, what would have happened if Chyna didn't pass away? Would she had accepted the olive branch, assuming Triple H would have reached out to her? And, so many other names that, like Macho Man Randy Savage and so many others. But it is what it is. And like I say, it's a great thing that their not really just wrestling career, but their life has come full circle, that they're able to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. So
yeah, definitely with all like finally they inducted China despite kind of saying that she's not by herself, but at least she's being inducted. Now, if they inducted Owen Hart and Chris Benoit, now that would be better. Now, those two men were huge aspects within WWE's annals of time, if you will.
Definitely.
Chris Benoit basically broke in through WCW, heading into WWE, being very successful. Owen Hart's career was cut short around the Attitude Era due to a bit of a technical difficulty while they were preparing for a show, and his career was cut short, and it was sad. But either way, both of those men deserve to get their Hall of Fame rings one way or the other. It's funny because Stu Hart has one. I think Jim the Anvil Neidhart already has one. Does he have one? I think Jim got one.
No, because I think for him, he would only probably get one as a member of the Hart Foundation with Bret Hart. Because
And
I don't
along
think
with
he
Brian
had.
Pillman too. He was part of the Hart Foundation as well.
Well, yeah. If you want to talk about the Hart Foundation in the '90s, but even with the Hart Foundation in the '80s, I don't think Jim the Anvil Neidhart's career as a singles guy was Hall of Fame status. That's just me, but definitely would either remember for the stable Hart Foundation in the '90s or the tag team Hart Foundation in the '80s. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, with WrestleMania coming up, there could be a lot of potential, maybe surprise matches that could be going on. We don't know. Like, if WWE was kind of loosey-goosey with, having their content not being leaked. But now it's so easy just to figure out who has the inside scoop on who's going to show up or who's maybe not going to show up. So it's kind of hard to kind of pinpoint who will show up, when will they show up, and what wow factor will that be. Now, take it back to WrestleMania, I think it was either 33 or 32. That was when the New Day was hosting. Nobody knew that the Hardy Boys would show up for that Raw Tag Team Championship ladder match. Nobody did. They literally snuck in through the back door, and Matt and Jeff looked great as they came out. I was watching this with friends at home. We were all freaking out at my house watching that match. I'd be like, holy cow, the Hardy Boys are here. It was just nostalgia all over again, just seeing the Hardy Boys. It was crazy.
And what was funny about that return was we mentioned earlier about the greatest tag teams of all time, and I think Edge, Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys. But isn't it funny how the Hardy Boys are the last remaining active competitors?
It is, because I would say Christian doesn't really wrestle anymore. Edge can't wrestle due to his neck problems, because if he tries to wrestle another match and injures his neck, then he's paralyzed from the neck down. Then the Dudley Boys are somewhat retired from wrestling. I know that Devon, he's got a family, and then Bubba, I don't know what's up with Bubba.
Well, I believe he's either engaged or married to, was it Velvet Sky?
No, that was a stage thing. They're not really married.
No.
I don't think they are.
No, but I believe she was at the Hall of Fame when he was inducted last year.
Oh, wait, yeah,
the team
she was in the audience.
Right, because I think you're thinking about Brooke Hogan, when Brooke Hogan and him had a...
that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, I think life's good for Bubba.
Yeah, he's married or engaged to a former TNA knockout. That's another thing I might have to bring up for next week's show. Definitely comparing WWE women to TNA knockout women.
So basically the Divas versus the Knockouts.
Yeah, well, they're no longer called Divas now in WWE. They're called women's wrestlers now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get the memo, actually.
Well, now you got the memo.
Yeah, I didn't get the memo. But they changed a lot. Remember when they had the Divas Butterfly champ? Whose idea was that?
It signified, something girly.
But I mean, what I mean by that is, I didn't mean it in a negative way. I just meant
who designed it?
What I mean by that is who came up with the concept that a butterfly and women are girly, and you get what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it played into the stereotypical. That's what women are. But as we saw in the evolution and things, the women wrestlers are more than just
Pretty faces.
the pretty faces and the butterflies and the pink that was on the belt and all that stuff. They're I would say, I dare say, as good or if not better than a lot of the male wrestlers. I mean, what I would love to see WrestleMania 35 be remembered for is having the first ever females main event.
Yeah.
And to really take, well, number one, WrestleMania to another level, but the women's division to another level. Could you imagine that they headline the grandest stage of them all? And they already did a few years ago with Sasha and Charlotte in that title match.
Oh, yeah, they did.
With the cell match. So can you imagine now doing it, like I said, on the biggest stage? It's like their Super Bowl.
Yeah, the grandest
And
stage.
whoever headlines WrestleMania for the first time as far as the women are concerned, they will always be remembered. They will stand out no matter if they have 10, 20, 50 more main events, but they will be the first. So it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. They were going to have a main event for the women between Ronda and Becky, but now it's between Ronda and Charlotte. But now it's just Charlotte in the main event because Ronda walked out last night. So we don't know what it could mean for the main event because clearly it's in the court of the McMahon family. Unless they reinstate Becky Lynch, who's literally already cleared by the doctors already, despite re-injuring her knee. She's probably trying to clear up for WrestleMania. But if they don't clear her, then what are we going to have for a main event? We're just going to have the guys' main event like they do almost every year. Now, if they did reinstate Becky and then added her to the match, it'd be a triple threat women's match that pretty much everybody probably wants to see. Everybody wanted to see Ronda versus Becky last year at Survivor Series. But you didn't get a chance to due to Nia breaking her face. And Charlotte took Becky's place. Now, Becky actually entered herself into the Women's Battle Royal around January. She won the right despite Lana not being able to make it due to injuring her leg between Rusev and Nakamura's United States Championship match. Finlay gave her the okay, and she went in there and dominated. She won the thing. Now, the question is, if Vince McMahon decides to lift the ban on Becky Lynch and let her compete, we can have the biggest main event for women in wrestling ever. You have the queen, the man, and the baddest woman on the planet all in one ring, competing in maybe in front of like 70 plus people. This is huge for them. And if they let this main event slip through their fingers, they're probably going to lose a lot more money and time heading into WrestleMania. Sure, people will buy tickets and spend all this money on travel packages and everything, but they want to see that main event so badly. Me being one of them. I want to see this main event so badly. I don't care if it's a one-on-one or a triple threat. I want to see all three of those men give their all in that match.
You know, it's funny. My personal opinion on main events, assuming that the women's match will be the main event, the Raw at least title, Raw Women's title. I really think main events should be one-on-one, especially at WrestleMania, because sometimes you get the feeling when they do triple threat matches and fatal four-ways and Money in the Bank ladder match. I haven't done that in a while at WrestleMania, but the point is, I feel like they jam so much storylines and so many wrestlers that it watered down the effect of who really belongs at WrestleMania. Because there was a good, I would say from maybe like WrestleMania, I want to say 22 to like maybe 32, so a good 10-year run where you had that feeling where they kept cramming so many matches.
Yeah.
It's not the amount of matches, it's the type of matches. They had so many multiple people in different matches that you're like, wow, this storyline doesn't even make sense. Because for a while, I remember for the women's, they would have like a battle royal, or they'd have some type of what was it, 8-woman's diva match and all this stuff. And you're like, that doesn't even fit on the card. Like, where's the storyline?
Yeah.
So what I'm just trying to say is I would love to see the first main event women's title match, a one-on-one match, and that one-on-one match being Ronda Rousey versus the Irish last kicker, Becky Lynch. So,
yeah, definitely. I agree with you there.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. We are going to take a break, and then Alvin will be leaving us. So say goodbye, Alvin.
Well, thank you for having me on the show for the last hour and 45 minutes.
Yep.
Definitely, it's been fun to be back in the South talking about WWE stuff and just reminiscing a little bit on the past. I love your radio presentation style. I think it's great storytelling, and for me to bounce back off you, I would just hope that in some way I was able to teach you something, be it directly or indirectly.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll hope to see you back next week. And remember, guys, you're listening to the Next Generation of Sports Talk Radio. Score on air, the score.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
Are you someone who has always dreamed of a career in sports media? The Ohio Media School now offers a 6-month sports emphasis program to prepare you for a whole new career. Whether it's radio or television, play-by-play or production, the Ohio Media School has you covered. You will receive training from professionals that are actually in the industry. The Ohio Media School will get you where you need to be for a successful career in this exciting, expanding field. To schedule a visit, call 614-655-5250 or go to beonair.com. Stop dreaming about a career in sports and make it a reality at the Ohio Media School.
1 Alpha, take 1.
And welcome back, everybody, to the next generation of Sports Talk Radio. It's me, Fun Size 2.0 here, and as you can see, I'm solo again. But hey, I actually got to have a co-host with me today, so that was actually fun. I was real excited about that. So yeah, as we ran down, Raw was awesome last week, despite Ric Flair. Yes, I'm bringing up Ric Flair again. Who got beat down on his birthday? Poor 70-year-old Ric Flair. I mean, come on. It's the man's birthday. Come on. Who wants to get beat down on their birthday? Come on. Who? Really? Does anybody? I don't think so. And also, we covered Fastlane, Hall of Fame inductees that will be announced. And speaking of Hall of Fame inductees, I am going to read about the Honky Tonk Man, and I have it bookmarked because the page was very hard to find. So let's read a little bit about the Honky Tonk Man, who, by the way, was the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in his prime. And can you believe it? I think he's actually related to Jerry the King Lawler in a way. There was a video on that once. I just can't remember. When that video happened. So that's another thing. So let's bring up the Honky Tonk Man. So as you can see, here's a picture of the Honky Tonk Man in his best Elvis outfit. As you can see, Howard Finkel and Hornswoggle are involved in this photo. So yeah. Alright, so I'm going to read down a bit of statistics of the Honky Tonk Man that you guys have probably not known. So the Honky Tonk Man is from Memphis, Tennessee, which is also the homeland of Jerry the King Lawler, so that gives you a hint. He has a history of winning the Intercontinental Championship. Around the years, he was around in the 1980s, heading almost into 2000. Now, let's read about the Honky Tonk Man. Many consider the Honky Tonk Man to be one of the greatest superstars of the 1980s, including the Honky Tonk Man himself. So let's just say he was very arrogant like Elvis. Taking arrogance to a whole new level, it wasn't common to hear the guitar-wielding superstar remind audiences, "I'm cool, I'm cocky, I'm bad." Now that's a funny quote. Now, unfortunately for all the Honky Tonk fans, dictators out there, of which they were plenty, he was everything he claimed to be. And now, he also did pull up in a pink Cadillac sometimes to the ring, which was actually pretty convenient. And if you guys noticed this, ever heard of the tag team Deuce and Domino? They actually pulled up to the ring even in a pink Cadillac. I'd say probably paying homage to the Honky Tonk Man in a way. Now, moving on down the line, following the record-breaking reign, the Honky Tonk Man set to create another record, a musical record. He teamed with George Valentine to form the singing duo known as Rhythm and Blues at WrestleMania, I believe that's 15. No, not 15. 5-4. Many to dismay of the sold out Sky Dome, they performed their single "Honka Honka Honky Love." Basically, paying homage to Elvis in a way, saying instead of honka honk and burnin' love, it's honka 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 honky love. That's a lot of honk. And then the twilight of the Honky Tonk Man's legendary career saw the singing superstar contributing in several different capacities, including manager and commentator. Despite achieving moderate success in these new roles, however, fans everywhere will always remember him as the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, and that is true. The Honky Tonk Man is known for, yes, here it is. The Honky Tonk Man's record-breaking Intercontinental Championship reign came to an end to the Ultimate Warrior at SummerSlam 1988. So, but his reign lasted pretty long. Saying shortly after WrestleMania, the Honky Tonk Man defeated Ricky Steamboat for the Intercontinental Championship in Buffalo, New York. The win proved historic as he went to hold the title for nearly 15 months, longer than any superstar in history. So obviously, the Honky Tonk Man has a very big thing. He held the Intercontinental Championship for 15 months. No other superstar has been able to do that, except for the Honky Tonk Man, who will be inducted into this year's WWE Hall of Fame class of 2019, along with D-Generation X. So, I really appreciate all of you guys watching today. As you can see, Alvin will be joining me next week. That's going to be awesome. And make sure you guys catch SmackDown tonight. And maybe see if any of your predictions probably came true. Come true or are coming true for tonight's SmackDown. And also make sure you guys catch Fastlane that will be coming up next month. And even more, heading into August, we will be talking about SummerSlam, which will be in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So that's going to be fun. I hated him. You hated the Honky Tonk Man? Who hates the Honky Tonk Man? Come on. The Honky Tonk Man was one of the greatest Intercontinental Champions ever. Maybe, no. Probably Chris Jericho. I still can't believe you didn't like the Honky Tonk Man. Man, Albert, you're crazy. But thank you guys watching so much. We are winding down to the final minutes that I will be on. Make sure you guys tune in next Tuesday, 4 to 6. Your girl will always be here, and we'll be joined by Albert next week. So, make sure you guys keep watching. Watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, all those older programs on the WWE Network. And you get your free month free along with the next pay-per-view, which will be Fastlane. So, I will see you guys next week, along with my very favorite new co-host, Alvin. Bye, guys.